First, I want to welcome you to this presentation. I want to take a quick, like I said, a couple minutes, probably 15, 20 minutes I figure it's going to last, maybe a little less, in order to educate you on what I call the Power Marketing Platform. And what that is it's a philosophy and a strategy that will bring people to you instead of you pushing onto them. Now, let me explain how this all works. Let's jump right in. There's a few things that we got to start with. The first thing is you got to understand that things aren't changing. Things have already changed. And what I mean by that is the consumer mindset is different today than it's ever been. Strategies that used to work in the 90s don't work anymore. Strategies that used to work in the 80s don't work anymore. Even strategies that worked 5-10 years ago don't work anymore. So even in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, those strategies don't work anymore because we live in a different world today than we've lived in back then. The consumer mindset has permanently changed. Things like push marketing, where you're shouting at your customer, and you'll appreciate that, yourself and many other people, this is what they consider marketing. Cold calling, telemarketing, trade shows, email blasts, print ads, yellow pages, TV, radio, marketing gimmicks, as we call them. But the picture really illustrates it best. It's you shouting at them. And that's an old way of doing business. That's an old way of doing marketing. The new way and new wave of marketing, and this has been going on, and it's always been like this. The people who can effectively use pull marketing strategies to pull people towards them will be much more effective than people pushing onto you. And this is something that is very, very different from if you think back in the cold calling days, when cold calling was a big thing. Think now. Whoever likes to be interrupted on their day. If you just think back in your own experience, do you prefer being the initiator, or do you prefer being initiated? And what I mean by that is, do you prefer calling on someone when you need their help, or do you prefer them calling you and pushing their service onto you? I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? You prefer always initiating. Every consumer prefers to be the initiator versus being initiated. So that's very different, and you have to understand that push marketing and pull marketing are very different. When I in my first company, when I went from 300 clients to 3,000 clients, the only difference I did is I stopped push marketing and I started pull marketing. I started pulling people to me, and I thought to myself, if I could just make the phone ring more often with the right kind of people, I think we could be a lot more successful. And within a 6-month period, we went from 300 customers to 3,000 customers simply because we started attracting customers to us rather than pushing ourselves onto them. And that is a very different, if you think of that mindset shift, it's very different. So that's the first thing you have to understand, is the consumer mindset has changed. And I love the introduction of this slide because it's not that things are changing. They've already changed. We're way past this change. People are fighting and people are slow taking on. But this, from a consumer perspective, that's changed. It's gone. It's way past. So let's go on to the next slide. This is a secret marketing formula that we've taught myself. I've taught to thousands and thousands of people, and Jerry Robert has taught to over 3 million people. It's a very powerful, and I was hosting marketing masterminds this week, and this is part of what I teach in the Marketing Mastermind, is this secret marketing formula, which is quite simple, quite very, very effective, but extremely dangerous. And I'll tell you why it's dangerous. It's dangerous because it's simple. And simplicity is dangerous because people don't do it. People don't do simple things. And when it's too simple, they get distracted, and it's funny how people complicate stuff. If it's not complicated, they don't think it's any good. This is a super duper, extremely, incredibly, whatever other adjective I can pull out, powerful formula that I've used, that Jerry Robert has used, and all of my business partners and all of my businesses have used in order to generate millions and millions of dollars of revenue. And it's always back to the same thing. The first step, step one, is primary objective. We have to establish what is the primary objective of each and every marketing communication, each and every marketing piece. And I'm gonna show you a system in a little bit that you're gonna start to understand what I mean by that. But you got to ask the question: what's the primary objective? We can sometimes, when Jerry, Robert, and I are doing, masterminds with clients and with ourselves and with our products and services, sometimes we can literally spend more time on the primary objective than anything else. And that's because the primary objective is the most powerful. It's the foundation to everything. You got to understand where you're going, and that's always the first step. The second step is TPOP, which stands for target population. And the TPOP is the target population of that particular marketing piece. Now, if you consider, you can do this for everything in your business, everything related to marketing, sales, advertising, promotion. What is the primary objective and what is the TPOP? What is the target population of that particular piece? If you're looking at a postcard, if you're looking at an email, if you're looking at a website, if you're looking at a web page, we're always asking the question, who is viewing this particular piece? Because somebody who's viewing, let's just say, this postcard may not be the same type of person who's viewing the other website, for example. You may have two different target audiences or target populations, and you have to understand that because the target population for one and the writing is going to be very different than the other target population. So it's very, very different. The other thing, and this is the most important factor, step 3, is you have to establish the needs and problems of your target population. And I'll give you an example. This is very powerful. Let's just assume for a second that you're a photocopier salesperson. And as a photocopier salesperson, you ask yourself, what's the primary objective of what I'm doing? I'm trying to sell more photocopiers. Okay, got it. So I'm trying to sell, I'm trying to open doors, and I'm trying to book appointments. Got it. Who's the target population? Well, the person making the decision on photocopiers is typically an office manager. So they're typically a budget spender, and they're somebody who has, if you start digging deep into that person, you'll find out that, and we've done studies on this and research on this, you'll find out that they're typically middle-aged, somewhere in the 45 to 55 age range. They're more likely to be female than male. You're looking at somebody who's really intelligent, really runs the show at that particular office. Typically, office managers do a lot more than everyone. They're responsible for everything, and they have a deep, deep, deep emotional tie to the success of that business and to the success of themselves. So that's the kind of person you're looking at. Now, you ask yourself, as a photocopier salesman, step 3, what are the needs and problems of that office manager? Right? Now, as a photocopier salesman, most photocopier salespeople, they think that the needs and problems of the office manager are things like pages per minute, how much is this costing on a per page basis, what is the maintenance, what's the space, is it going to fit in the right space, how much time is this going to take, how many, what's the ink ratio on black and white versus CMYK, all these sort of very elementary and very superficial questions. But really, if you really think about it, and I want you to sit down, I want you to write this down. I want you to say, right beside needs and problems, I want you to write and ask the question, what keeps them up at night? What keeps them up at night? Now, for it to be a true need and problem, it's got to keep them up at night. Now, let's go back to the photocopier salesperson. Let's go through all the things we talked about. Pages per minute. Does that keep them up at night? No. And I can hear you laughing right now. No. Pages per minute doesn't keep them up at night. Ink ratio doesn't keep up that person at night. Doesn't keep her up at night. You're looking at the space. You're looking at the pages per minute, the ink ratio, the maintenance, the cost, the budget. None of that stuff keeps that office manager up at night. That's a guarantee. But I'll tell you, if you start digging and you start asking the question, what does keep the office manager up at night, you're going to get answers like respect. She feels like she's running the show, running the company, getting paid way too little, not getting any respect, That's making sense, right? So she's not getting any respect. She's running the show. She's got conflict. The conflict between staff, that keeps her up at night. The fact that she's underpaid, that keeps her up at night. The fact that she's, not seeing her family grow up, that keeps her up at night because she's working too much. That keeps her up at night. The fact that she has passions and dreams that she hasn't pursued, that keeps her up at night. These are things that keep her up at night, not pages per minute, ink, and so on and so forth, right? Does that make sense? So that's critical. You see the difference there? Most people would have went down the path. Because if you look at step 4, and the step 4 is building an attraction marketing device. And an attraction marketing device is, think of it as a magnet. Let's call it a marketing magnet, because sometimes people call it that. It's a marketing magnet to pull them to you. You want people to lift their hand and say, I am ready, willing, and able to buy what you sell. I like what you have to say. I am interested, right? And if you can get people to set themselves apart, then you know exactly who to target and who to sell. See, most people, if you look at a triangle, I want you to draw a triangle on a page. And I don't have this slide, and I wish I did because it's really powerful. But draw a triangle on a page. Now, about 2/3 on the way up, draw a horizontal line through it. So what you have is you have 1/3 at the top of the triangle and 2/3 at the bottom. At the bottom, I want you to write 80%. At the top, I want you to write 20%. I hope I'm not going too fast. Okay, now that 20%, I want you to take an arrow and pull it out. You see, that 20%, those are the people. You know that 20%, the top part of that triangle, is ready, willing, and able to buy what you sell. The other 80%, they're not. They're just checking around. They're not really interested. What's the problem is most people go about marketing by pushing their way up the bottom instead of pulling from the top. So imagine now, if you're doing push marketing, you're going up the bottom. If you're doing pull marketing, you're pulling the top piece of the triangle and getting them to identify themselves using an attraction marketing device. And I'm going to give you actual examples right here to in this presentation in order to show you what an attraction marketing device does and how you get people to identify themselves. Then so that's step 4, and then step 5 is you build a funnel, and I'll teach you a little bit about that today. Building a funnel is an extremely complex and very, very, sort of could be a big challenge. It could be a huge job, but also it could be really simple. If you break it down, if you really look at the necessities of what you're trying to accomplish, building a funnel doesn't have to be complicated. And that's one of the biggest things we've brought to people's businesses, is been able to rip through this formula, this 5-stage formula, which literally, I know it's simple, and that's why it's dangerous. Every single time, I promise you, every single time something has not worked for us in our business or in one of my partners' business, you have to understand, I'm involved with over 10 different companies. We have restaurants, we have gyms, we have education companies, seminar companies, publishing companies all over the world. And every time something doesn't work, it's because we circumvented the process and we missed one of these steps every single time. So that's the 5-step secret formula. Write it down. Primary objective, target population, needs and problem, attraction marketing device, and build your funnel. With that, I'm going to move on. With that out of the way, I'm going to move on to the next step and show you exactly what one of these things built out looks like and what it is we're going to be working towards with you, which is really, really exciting. All right, so here's the funnel I was talking about. Every single business has this same funnel, which is generate leads, capture the leads, qualify the leads, convert leads, and nurture clients. That's called the GCQCN formula. If you look at the first initial, GCQCN, first you got to start by generating leads. Second, you got to capture. Third, you got to qualify. Fourth, you got to convert. And 5, you got to nurture. Very, very critical. And if you understand that every single segment, there's certain strategies to generate, there's certain strategies to capture, there's certain strategies to qualify, there's certain strategies to convert, there's certain strategies to nurture. There are literally, this is a matrix of 1,000+ different strategies, right? And using the right ones for your business, that's what we could bring to the table, because we know what works in your business. And we're going to have to test. We don't know everything that's going to work in your business. We're going to have to do some testing and figure out exactly what works. But I'll tell you this, one of my core beliefs, and I hope it's going to become one of your core beliefs, is to make data-driven decisions. What I mean by that is you don't want to be emotional. You don't want to be guessing. You don't want to just think. And that's the way, very well could be the way you've been running it so far. That's the way most people run their business. I mean, they just try stuff based on their gut feel. They just think, well, let's just try this. Let's just do a trade show, see if it works. Well, how strategic is that? See, those people are opportunity seekers. They are just seeking any opportunity. And you know this because it's been like this in my business, and it's like this in your business. When you're first starting out, and even when you're not first starting out, you want to talk to anyone who's willing to listen. And I can hear you giggling right now because I know that that's the case, because this is the case for me. Anyone who's willing to listen when you first start out, when it was, 10 years ago when I first started out, anyone who's willing to listen to what I had to say, I was trying to sell them. But isn't that push marketing? That's really push marketing. Those people have not identified themselves. And they have not said, they're not at the top of the triangle. To be at the top of the triangle and to be ready, willing, and able to buy what I sell, you need to identify yourself. And that happens in the capture and qualifying stages, which I'm going to take you through now, this generate, capture, qualify, convert, and nurture stages of one of the particular companies I work with. So let me show you. Okay, here's a capture page. This is something we did a couple years ago. It's called yourmarketingscore.com. This is called a capture page. As you can see, it's a highly, highly scientifically designed page. This is not just thrown together. Everything is in place for a particular reason. The little red squiggly, it's called a copy doodle. The little red squiggly around get me my score is very strategically designed. We've actually found just by putting those red copy doodles, we actually increased the conversion of that page from 55% up to 76%. That's the power of those things. So this is very scientific. This is a page that is scientifically designed to capture people, right? So we generate traffic. If I go back here, we generate traffic, we drive traffic to this page, and here we capture them. Once we've captured them and we've put them into our funnel, okay, now I want to just break this down for you. Go back to the 5-part secret formula. Primary objective. Our primary objective was to generate leads. Who's our TPOP? We know our target population. We know they're small business owners. We know that they're small business owners that are dying. And really what they want is they want more leads and they want more effective marketing. Okay? So check this out. Look what we did. Look at this. We specifically wrote the copy. This is called sales copy. We wrote the copy in such a way so that people understand that what they're going to get is drastically improved results, because we know that that is their biggest need and problem, because we've studied the marketplace and we know that small business owners, all they want is better marketing. They want, and you see down here, check this out, free marketing report, right? What does it identify? Several ways to market your business without spending a cent, because people are on a shoestring budget. So by seeing things like this, people are interested in getting. So this page here, so if you look at our primary objective was to get leads, our target population was small business owners, and we had it more narrowed down than that, let's just say 100,000 to 700,000 in sales or something like that. I don't quite remember, but I have the numbers on it. Okay, and that was our target population. Their needs and problems is better marketing effectiveness, better cash flow, better sales. That's what they want. They don't want to be beat out by their competitors. They want to beat their competitors. So we write things like outrank your competitors. Okay, those were their needs and problems. Marketing score. Hear me 1 second. Okay, audio has been restored. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, let me keep going. So the attraction marketing device, and pardon the interruption there, but the attraction marketing device in this particular case was a marketing score that would identify to them their weak points in marketing and a free special report on how they can fix those things and give them specific strategies to grow their business without spending a penny. That was our attraction marketing advice. We put all of those people into our funnel, and now I'm going to show you what a funnel looks like. Okay, so this is one example of an attraction marketing device to show and to identify themselves. So instead of us selling to everyone and anyone who was out there, what we did is we sold only to people who would identify themselves on the marketing score, and that was very, very effective for us. And it brings up our closing ratio drastically. Most people sell, one person for every 10 they approach. We sell 7, 8, 9 for every 10 we approach, and that's because we only deal with people who are qualified to buy what we sell. So that's the attraction marketing device. Let's keep going. So again, we generate, capture. So now I showed you how we're going to capture. This is one example of how we're going to capture. Okay. Let me show you some more examples. This is a client website I just built recently. Okay, this is a company that operates internationally. It's called Gold Achievers International, phenomenal company, and they offer mastermind groups, okay, phenomenal company. And what they do, as you can see, I just wanted to draw your attention to all the red arrows. See, most websites, if you look at any website, the opportunity to capture, see, people go there, so there's lead generation or there's traffic generation that is happening all the time, and that takes money. That costs money to generate leads. But they don't capture, and if you look at your current website, guaranteed you're not capturing. And if you're only capturing at one place, let me show you how often we're capturing on one single page. Check this out. Okay. Take out my highlighter again. Okay, so you see here, right here, there's a free 8-lesson audio program we put together. The minute they click on that, they put in their name and their email, and they get into the free 8-lesson audio program, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. That's one way we're capturing. The other way, we write up here, you can follow this red arrow here, and you can see, try our free breakfast mastermind. They actually have a free event every single week on Saturday mornings where, I don't know if it's every week or twice a week or something, but anyways, they have a free event several times a month that you can get in a free breakfast mastermind. They would put, and because I work with this company, I understand their stats, they put several people through this, and in turn, people sign up for their events. It's a highly, I can't reveal the numbers, but I can tell you it's a highly effective way of them closing business. It's fantastic. See here, be notified of new posts. This is another way. People put in their email here, and all of a sudden, they get notified of new posts. Every time we put something up on the website, they hear about it. That's another way to capture. We put this tweet badge here. That's another way. Every time somebody clicks that, they subscribe to our Twitter. Every time we have a list on our Twitter, we're building our Twitter following. We have all these social media accounts right here. You can see them all. Okay, check this out. Every single time somebody clicks on there, they sign up to our Facebook, our Twitter, our LinkedIn, our YouTube, our blog. And as a result, we're capturing, and we end up, we started from zero, absolutely zero leads, and in a matter of a year, we're going to have thousands and thousands of potential customers because of this. If you scroll this page down, you would actually see a form here where people can opt in to complete the form below, limited seats available, and this is for the free mastermind breakfast. So another opportunity to capture people right here on this list. This is the power. This is why I call power marketing platform. See, a website is not just a website. A website is a lead generating machine, and that's what we're going to do for you. Okay? Now, let's assume somebody clicks on the free 8-lesson audio program, they give their name and email, and now they're getting free 8 lessons. Let me show you this. This is all automated, and this is all systematized, because I can't trust you to do it because you're too busy doing everything else in the business. So I want to try to automate as many things as possible, because we never want to rely on you doing stuff because you're just way too busy. And I've learned that over the last decade of building companies. Again, I've built, sold, managed, and consulted to over 25 different industries. And so I've seen this time and time again, and the biggest problem is people run out of time and things start slipping through the cracks. You know what I'm talking about. So we automate it. So somebody opts in to the 8-lesson audio program. Here's what happens. As you can see, this is an automated email sequence that gets delivered to them. You can see it here, 4 days, 8 days, 12 days, 16, 20, 24, 28. These people are delivered the audio program automatically without you ever lifting a finger. And all of this is really branded. It's professional. And I actually want to show you what that looks like. Okay? This is an example of what one of those emails looks like. Okay? Now, I want to show you something. Again, it's all about capturing. You can see here on the right-hand side, you can see that there's follow us, tweet this, join us, share this, visit our blog. Again, the opportunity for them to share this information so we keep capturing more leads. You can see that the banner is a free breakfast mastermind because even though they're in our 8-lesson audio program, we want them to come to our mastermind breakfast because that's where we get to really show them the power of what it is we do, and that's where we get our customers. So that is extremely powerful. The other thing is there's a free report here, a special bonus that we provide here. Now this is really cool. This is where, if you remember back to the GCQCN formula, now we've generated a lead. We've captured that lead. Now we're qualifying. We want to know if we have, let's just say, 100 people into this audio program. We want to know who is it that we should be talking to, because it's not all 100 people. See, talking to all 100 people would mean a lot of wasted time and a lot of wasted effort. We want to know who's interested in our breakfast mastermind, who's interested in what we do enough for them to take action. So on this page here, we have different links and different action items. When somebody takes a certain action that we want, this is called lead qualification and lead notification. And when someone takes a certain action that we want them to take and qualifies themselves, meaning they have essentially put up their hands and said, I'm ready, willing, and able to buy what you sell, this is what happens. I build this into my systems. And this is really cool. You get an email like this, and it says Mastermind Lead. The email comes from me, and it says, hey, just want to let you know, this person clicked on the Mastermind offer in the 8 lessons email. Follow up with them and invite them to the breakfast. I recommend you call them right away. And it gives you the person's contact information. So when somebody clicks on that free report, or someone clicks on the banner, or someone clicks on the offer on this page, whether they buy or not, you are notified so that you can convert, right? So now let's look at, again, generate, capture, qualify, and convert. We've generated leads. We've captured them, and we've qualified them. I showed you how we do that. Then we're going to convert them. Now, converting is up to you. You're the one who's going to sell these people, not us. And that's always going to be the case because you know your business better than we do, and you know your products better than we do. Our job is to capture, qualify, and nurture customers. We're going to work together to generate leads, and you're going to exclusively convert on your own. That's the way this system is structured, and it's extremely powerful because leads are delivered essentially in your inbox just like this, saying, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing. I'm interested in buying. Ta-da! It's like magic. So then you got to convert them, and we'll train and coach you and show you how to train people. How to convert people. What's the best way to position? What's the best way to sell? What's the, all these are little tricks. I mean, these are tricks over the last, myself the last decade and Jerry Robert over the last 30 years have picked up, and we're going to pass on everything we know in order for you to convert better. Because we don't want you to convert one client 10% or 20%, meaning 1 or 2 people for every 10 you talk to. We want you to convert at a 60, 70, 80, 90% conversion ratio. That's a good conversion ratio. Then the last step, probably one of the most important, is nurture. And the way you nurture is the following. First thing, before I go into nurture, I need you to understand something. Most business owners have a belief that because I'm ready to sell, you should be ready to buy. You see, but that's really wrong if you think about it. So imagine yourself, right? I'm sitting here and I have a particular product. Let's say it's a book or a home study course or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. And I'm ready to sell that product now, right? The question that comes to mind is, and what most business owners think is, they think, okay, you on the other end of the line, you should be ready to buy because I'm ready to sell. But it doesn't work like that. Really, my job as a business owner is to be ready to sell anytime you're ready to buy, right? So anytime you're ready to buy, I'm ready to sell. That's what nurturing is all about. You see, when we put people back into your funnel, see, what most people do is they have a leaky funnel. I call it a leaky funnel. Which means if you follow up with someone once and they don't buy, that's it. I mean, you missed your shot, they missed their shot, and you guys never do business ever again. In your particular case, with this kind of system, what's going to happen is when people go into the funnel, they stay in the funnel. They are continually nurtured with things like follow-up sequences, and they're continually nurtured with great information. And we're never trying to sell them stuff that they don't need. We just want to keep in constant communication with them so we can be top of mind, because at one time, I promise you, they're going to be ready to buy, and we're going to be ready to sell. So that's the idea with nurture. It's very, very important. Most people forget nurture. They just generate a lead. They don't capture it. They try to convert. See, most people generate a lead and go to convert right away. Think about it, right? Most people, they generate a lead. They sit down. They try to sell you. It doesn't work. You never hear from them again. And the reason is because they haven't properly captured you. They haven't qualified you. So they're only converting 1 out of every 10 or 2 out of every 10. And they never nurture because they lost you. In our particular case, we're generating leads. We're capturing leads. We're qualifying leads. We're going to convert 6, 7, 8, 9 people out of every 10 that identify themselves as a qualified prospect, and we're going to nurture the rest until they become qualified prospects. And that's how you take your income to the next level. That's how you take your business income to the next level, so you're not wasting time. One of my core philosophies is we let the system deal with suspects, and we let people deal with prospects. You see, when you capture someone, that's a suspect because they have not taken action. They haven't jumped through your hoops yet. They have not showed and demonstrated that they're interested enough in what it is you have to sell. So they're still a suspect. I let my system deal with suspects. Now, when they've identified themselves and you get an email or you get a lead notification, that's a prospect. That tells me that now a person can deal with this prospect because the chances of closing are highly likely. That's the GCQCN formula that is extremely, extremely powerful. There's that lead notification again. Again, when we nurture people effectively, all that happens is that shortly thereafter, you get another lead notification from that person saying, hey, someone else is ready to buy. And that's because we may not have gotten them on the qualify, but we got them on the nurture. Does that make sense? So you can see the arrows here. All we're doing is putting people back into our funnel, and it just becomes a never-ending revolving door of leads that flow like this, through and through, and they come down and they go through and through, and they come down and they go through and through, and they keep doing this until they buy, until they become converted clients. And then we keep doing this to them. We keep putting them through our system because we have other products to sell them. This is only one product of many that you're going to offer. So this is the power of a good, solid marketing system. Okay? So let's go back. What's your primary objective? Who's your target population? What are their needs and problems? Meaning, what keeps them up at night? What is the attraction marketing device you're going to offer? And you got to build out an automated funnel and a system, a marketing system that is going to qualify and identify these people as who's ready to buy, because you're too busy to be following up with everyone, and you need to have a good, solid marketing system in place so that you can systematize this and you could not get consumed by your business. If you look at business owners that are unhappy, you look at business owners that are not effective and they're losing money in their business, it's because they don't have these things in place. That's a promise. So that's the secret formula. That's the 5-step secret formula. I gave you the GCQCN formula. I showed you how to pull people into your funnel. It's extremely, extremely powerful. I'm telling you, this information, number one, has been taught to millions of people. Number two, we do a marketing mastermind to go through this with people in their business. Just that on itself is $1,000 a session. It's a 2-hour session. It's $1,000. Extremely powerful information in order to get you and your business to the next level. So with with that being said, I want to end this and just say, it's up to you, and you gotta make this happen. If you need help with it, never hesitate to give me a call. I'd be more than happy to help you any way that I possibly can.